about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings. But I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess. Whatever the lowest price paid for a drug in other developed countries, that is the price that Americans will pay.
U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday directing drug makers to lower the prices of their medicines to align with what other countries pay. The order gives drug makers price targets in the next 30 days. And Trump said the administration will take further action to lower prices if those companies do not make significant progress toward those goals within 6 months of the order being signed.
Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%. Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries.
The executive order said the administration would consider taking regulatory actions or importing drugs from other countries if drug makers don't meet the government's expectations. But some legal experts say the order is likely to face legal challenges, particularly for exceeding limits set by U.S. law, including on imports of drugs from abroad. Investors were also skeptical about the executive order's implementation. Shares of major drug makers, after initially falling during pre-market trading, rallied on Monday despite Trump's wide-reaching order. The United States pays the highest prices for prescription drugs, often nearly 3 times more than other developed nations. Trump tried to bring the U.S. in line with other countries in his first term, but was blocked by the courts.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Rayan Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Lovin'. Puppy Lovin' is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
Sports headlines on the morning drill. The latest sports info on the morning drill. Scores and information on your favorite teams. Sports headlines on the morning drill. The latest sports info on the morning drill. Scores and information on your favorite teams.
Wall Street's main indexes closed sharply higher on Monday, with the Dow gaining 2.8%, the S&P 500 climbing 3.25%, and the Nasdaq rising more than 4.3%. Stocks soared after the U.S. and China announced on Monday that they would slash steep tariffs on each other for 90 days. While the tariff truce pushed investors into stocks, it pulled them out of treasuries, lifting the 10-year yield to nearly 4.5%. Alexander Morris, CEO of FM Investments, said that signaled concerns about where President Trump's tariff policy may ultimately settle.
The bond market is still flashing a sign that this is great news for the next 90 days. But they're growing a little bit tired of these 90-day extensions. Eventually, both the stock and bond market is going to want some permanency to some of these trade restriction changes. But so far, for investors, it looks like it's going to be a good week without needing that permanent change.
Among Monday's stock moves, Apple rallied more than 6% after a report said the tech giant was considering raising the prices of its fall iPhone lineup. The rest of the Magnificent Seven megacaps also gained, with Amazon and Meta platforms rising roughly 8% and Tesla gaining nearly 7%. And shares of NRG Energy soared more than 26% after the company said it would acquire power generation assets from energy infrastructure investment firm LS Power in a deal valued at $12 billion.
Well, here we go on this Tuesday. Light rain early, then remaining cloudy with showers in the afternoon, with temperatures today in the upper 60s. Showers early tonight, then cloudy overnight with lows in the upper 50s. Wednesday, cloudy, low 70s. Thursday, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, highs in the upper 70s. Friday, some morning thunderstorms, a high of 80, and Saturday, rain showers with temperatures in the upper 70s. Meadville this morning checks in at 62 degrees. Camber Springs, Edinburgh at 62. Titusville 61, Franklin 62, Oil City 62 degrees here this morning. 7:13 is our time. This is the Morning Drill. All right, Tuesday morning, wet start to the day, but we're supposed to get light rain, which means it won't be as fattening, right? It's light rain, so it won't be all right today.
Your jokes
this is the kind of day it's going to be, I think. I think.
Amazing.
It's going to be one of those days. Boy, a lot to dive into here this morning. I thought it was a joke at first. It's not. We actually have the story we can play for you if you want to see it. But there's a group of folks doing this animal migration thing to raise awareness of something. I don't know, climate change or something.
What are you talking about?
But they're not real animals. They're puppets.
For the love of all that is.
I'm not making it up.
Can you go tell your really bad dad jokes again?
I'm serious. I'm not making this up. I'll play the story right now, and then we'll get into some other things. There's some sports headlines and I don't know, other stuff. So yeah, the story. Well, here's the story, and then we'll just go from there.
Should have spiked my coffee.
But these are puppets.
No.
These are puppets.
A spectacular migration from Central Africa to the Arctic Circle is underway. In what organizers are calling the largest-scale public art installation ever attempted, a growing carnival of zoologically accurate animal puppets are making the 12,000-mile or 20,000-kilometer journey. The ambitious 5-month odyssey aims to raise awareness around the climate emergency.
For many years, the climate debate was led by science.
Amir Nizar-Zuabi is artistic director of The Herds.
And one of the problems with it being about climate and science is scientists are very clever people, and then you also hope they find the solutions for all the problems. Part of what we're trying to do by saying, no, it's about nature, it's about us, it's us.
The project began in the Congo Basin, home to the world's second largest tropical rainforest. Recycled materials have been used to make the creatures ranging from gorillas to a towering giraffe.
There was something for me that was very tempting or alluring in the fact that they need to be made from very simple materials. They need to almost look like earth.
The puppets have also been engineered to move realistically, explains puppetry designer Sipo Ngola.
So you actually research an animal, then you really study that animal carefully, you watch it carefully, which body parts moves when it's breathing and which body parts moves first when it's about to walk. And there's three things you look at the animals. It's a breath, and it's the way of moving, and what the animal does actually.
The procession is making stops as it passes through countries including Nigeria, Senegal and Morocco before crossing into Europe via Spain. In each city it visits, residents will be trained in puppet making and performance and will add their own animals. The migration aims to conclude at the Arctic Circle in August, having grown from a handful of species to a diverse array of wildlife that are increasingly threatened by a warming world.
I remember when it was kind of incredible to see Kermit the Frog ride a bike. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I wonder how long before somebody's like, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm done. The puppets are cool.
How long is I zoned out. How long is it going to take them? Did they say?
They have it mapped out. They're going to be stopping at a number of places. The cool part though is they are going to stop at a number of places and teach like puppetry and making that stuff. But
okie dokie.
They don't have jobs. Or...
That's what I'm getting at.
If I came home tonight and I said, "Hey, honey, I'm going to be taking the next couple months and working a puppet down to Antarctica."
I'm not gonna be surprised. Just kidding.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I know. Yeah, no, you're not gonna be doing that, but you know.
You do let me get away with quite a bit.
I do.
I do come home and like, hey, I'm thinking about this.
Uh-huh.
You're to the point now. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you even feed the beast a little bit, right?
Sometimes.
I'll come home and I'll be like, hey, I was thinking, and you're like, oh yeah, and you could do this, and I think most of the time it's just out of love.
Trying to be nice.
All right, so there's that story. What else is going on? There's a couple other things. We were talking about it was such a beautiful weekend. I was talking to somebody yesterday about that, where they were able to get out and just enjoy some things. There were a number of events throughout Northwest Pennsylvania. One of them was in our backyard, the Oil Creek Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, which was a huge success this year. And, just every year that event grows and grows and grows and benefits the Titusville Rotary Club. But it involves a lot of people. You have some baseball scores, high school baseball scores from yesterday as well, and a couple games to note. Let's see if I can find it. I had it. Say Corey outlasts Northeast 1-0 in 9 innings. That could have a major impact on playoff seeding. You had Hickory beating Slippery Rock 6-5, and I guess that was a pretty exciting baseball game. Both teams scored 4 runs in the 6th inning to remain tied at 5. With 2 outs and the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Slippery Rock Rockets committed an error as Hickory walked off with the win. Meanwhile, Jackson Koval and Hunter Ober each drove in 3 runs on 3 hits. And Brett Schmidt tossed a 3-hit shutout as the Titusville Rockets beat the Oil City Oilers 10-0 in baseball, which means Titusville wraps up the number 2 region title, which is their 7th region title in baseball. So that's some high school
good stuff.
Headlines for you here this morning. You get into Major League Baseball from last night. The Guardians beat the Brewers 5-zip. Tigers over the Red Sox 14-2. Cardinals over the Philadelphia Phillies 3-2. Mets beat the Pirates 4-3. Braves over the Nationals 4-3. I guess Bob Costas ripped into the Pirates organization as well the other night. Cubs beat the Marlins 5-2. It was the Rangers over the Rockies 2-1. Houston fell to Kansas City 7-5. Angels batting their way past the Padres to win 9-5. It was an 11-5 win for the Yankees over the Mariners, and Diamondbacks beat the Giants 2-1 last night to wrap up Monday Night Baseball. Now, today, you've got if it will update here. It's not updating.
It's not?
No.
I'm sorry.
Let me try refreshing. All right, well, that's not going to work. So, oh, wait, here we go. Today, the Guardians and the Brewers at 6:10 tonight. Orioles and Twins at 6:35. Reds and White Sox at 6:40. Tigers and Red Sox at 6:40. Phillies have the Cardinals at 6:45. Blue Jays and Rays at 7:07. Pirates in New York again with the Mets at 7:10. In Game 2 of that series, Braves and Nationals at 7:15. Cubs and Marlins at 7:40. Rangers and Rockies at 8:05. Astros and the Royals at 8:10. Padres hosting the Angels. Mariners hosting the Yankees. Diamondbacks on the road in San Francisco. A's and Dodgers in Los Angeles at 10:10 this evening. On to hockey. Last night, the Stars skated past the Winnipeg Jets 5-2. Stars lead that series 2-1. Panthers over the Maple Leafs 2-0. That series, I'm sorry, that was from Sunday. Last night, Hurricanes beat the Capitals 5-2. Hurricanes lead that series 3-1. Oilers with the win over the Golden Knights 3-0. Oilers lead that series 3-1. Tonight, the Stars will take on the Jets at 8 o'clock, and that'll be on ESPN. And some NBA scores last night. The Knicks beat the Celtics 121-113. Knicks lead that series 3-1. The Timberwolves over the Golden State Warriors 117-110. And the Timberwolves lead that series 3-1. Tonight, the Cavaliers will host the Pacers at 7 o'clock, with the Pacers leading that series 3-1, and the Thunder hosting the Nuggets at 9:30. That series tied up 2 games apiece. That is tonight. It is the 13th day of May. Let's get into birthdays and what we're celebrating. We're going to start with birthdays here, and who has a birthday today?
All right. Actor Harvey Keitel is 86 today.
Harvey Keitel, National Treasure. And a lot of other movies.
All right. Singer Stevie Wonder is 75. Talk show host Stephen Colbert is 61. Singer Darius Rucker is 59. Actress and writer Lena Dunham is 39. Actor Robert Pattinson is 39. Actress Debbie Ryan, oh my gosh, I can't talk today, is 32. And that is all.
Okay. Happy birthday to them. And happy birthday to YOU if today happens to be your birthday from all of us. Let's switch gears and find out what it is we're all celebrating here today.
Okay. Children of Fallen Patriots Day, Cough Drop Day, Fair Trade Day, IEEE Global Engineering Day, International Hummus Day, National Apple Pie Day, National Crouton Day, National Frog Jumping Day, National Fruit Cocktail Day, National Leprechaun Day. That is weird.
Really?
Yeah, that is completely weird. Top Gun Day, Tulip Day, and that's it. That's crazy. That's it.
The apple pie sounds good.
Yeah.
Croutons.
Some of your favorites right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It really does make me hungry, though. Sometimes there's like things on that. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, that's not
apple pie. Not
no.
so good? Okay.
Nope, not at all.
I'd eat a slice of apple pie. Apple turnover.
Yeah.
Maybe for breakfast. You made some that were really, really good.
Huh. Thanks.
And then every time I'm like, boy, that's amazing.
Well, I don't have the chance. Like having I don't.
I know, but you do it all the time. You make stuff that you really like, and I'm like, and you're like, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. We were sitting watching an episode of something last night, and what?
Nothing. Go.
You well, I felt like something on me.
It was so funny. And he's like, "You're like moving, like,
yeah, like
what's that?"
Something.
The
was
minute you
tickling.
moved, I'm like, I couldn't get it out of my mouth. There was like this bug crawling up your arm into your sleeve, and I'm like, ah! And you jumped and ripped your shirt off and ripped the couch apart.
I was looking for. I couldn't find it.
We couldn't find it. It was so funny.
Was there one, or you just
No, 100%.
Because I would.
You would so fake it and
Yeah.
let me freak out.
Because I've done that before to you.
Mhm.
There's a bug on you. Ah! So yeah, that was the fun last night.
So exciting.
That's it.
I ran into our son. He goes, "Are you guys all right?" "Yeah, Dad had a bug on his arm." And then I explained, ripped his shirt off, looking in the couch. He goes, "Oh my gosh."
Well, I don't know if it flew somewhere.
Yeah, now I know.
We got a great lineup today. Joe Tech's going to be joining us. Well, a lot going on in the news. 7:30 we'll have the headlines for you, and then we've got a lot of business stories with all the news yesterday with the sort of the agreement with China for now, what's in place and what that did to the market. I was reading something like yesterday, like $2 trillion like was made on Wall Street just off of getting something done. It was crazy. But anyways, we'll have some stories on that. If you missed the forecast, we'll have that for you as well. So a rainy day today, not cold, 60s, upper 60s. We're supposed to get into the upper 60s. So there's that. And then maybe some sports headlines as well. But Joe Tech's going to be joining us. And we've got Financial Guru Gary Glunt will be joining us later this morning as well. Speaking of high school sports, let me get this in real quick because there's always a good match when it comes to Meadville Bulldog volleyball, boys volleyball. And tonight you can catch Sagertown and Meadville. And that'll be tonight, sometime before 7 o'clock. They'll go on, but you can catch high school boys volleyball on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel YouTube page. Check that out, and then you can see Sagertown and Meadville, which is always a good matchup. So good volleyball programs.
Yeah.
So that keeps up our high school sports talk here this morning.
There you go.
Anything else?
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. We're going to go grab some apple pie during the news break.
Mm.
We'll get you a slice as well. So, all right. How's that sound?
No.
No?
No.
All right. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Glad you're with us here on this Tuesday morning. Your headlines are coming up next.
And I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings. But I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess. Whatever the lowest price paid for a drug in other developed countries, that is the price that Americans will pay.
U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday directing drug makers to lower the prices of their medicines to align with what other countries pay. The order gives drug makers price targets in the next 30 days. And Trump said the administration will take further action to lower prices if those companies do not make significant progress toward those goals within 6 months of the order being signed.
Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%. Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries.
The executive order said the administration would consider taking regulatory actions or importing drugs from other countries if drug makers don't meet the government's expectations. But some legal experts say the order is likely to face legal challenges, particularly for exceeding limits set by U.S. law, including on imports of drugs from abroad. Investors were also skeptical about the executive order's implementation. Shares of major drug makers, after initially falling during pre-market trading, rallied on Monday despite Trump's wide-reaching order. The United States pays the highest prices for prescription drugs, often nearly 3 times more than other developed nations. Trump tried to bring the U.S. in line with other countries in his first term, but was blocked by the courts.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
Vehicle shopping? Make sure you check out Titusville Ford first. Shop our amazing selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. Visit us on Route 8 in Titusville and see why our customer service is a cut above the rest. Titusville Ford, your hometown dealer.
Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning provides residential and light commercial air conditioning services throughout the area. They understand the importance of your cooling system working properly. That is why you can trust in Vanderhoof to do the job right. Whether it's a non-working air conditioner, yearly maintenance, or a new install, you can be assured that we will solve your problem quickly and efficiently. Your home's air conditioning system is far more than just temperature. It's a complete comfort system that combines temperature, humidity, air quality, and above all, safety. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville.
Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom, ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Welcome to Inspire Med Spa, the place you know and love for massages, Botox, laser resurfacing, and semi-permanent makeup. Now we're offering even more, including laser hair removal, tattoo removal, and hair rejuvenation. Our team is here to provide expert care in a peaceful, luxurious environment designed with your relaxation in mind. And with our newly added services, now you can get all your beauty services in one place. Visit Inspire Med Spa today because you deserve to look and feel your best.
Interstate Pipe and Supply takes pride in providing superior customer service. That's why our dedicated employees are well trained and have the experience to offer friendly, quick, and reliable service and support. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Interstate offers fast delivery from our 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania. We also serve Eastern Ohio, Northern Western Virginia, and Western New York. Service means business at Western Pennsylvania's premier pipe and supply company, Interstate Pipe and Supply.
Whether you want to go and lead in your craft in the trades, whether you want to go and be that nurse or medical worker and have a real impact on lives, or whether you want to go and help that business improve its bottom line, this is the place. And now is your time to go with confidence, to go with skill, to go succeed. The Education and Training Center at Pitt Titusville.
I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us, but try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same. But you have excuses because you're old, so it's okay.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
This Memorial Day, Community Chevrolet honors those who fought to save the freedoms we enjoy today. And the least we can do is save you more than $9,000 off America's favorite truck, the Silverado.
You have my undivided attention. Ooh, I smell hot dogs.
You can also save more than $5,000 off the Silverado 2500 and more than $2,000 off the 2025 Colorado.
I may be colorblind, but these deals seem red, white, and true.
Community Chevy's Memorial Day sale only during Military Appreciation Month at Community Chevrolet.
On the morning drill, the latest sports info on the morning drill, scores and information on your favorite teams. Sports headlines on the morning drill, the latest sports info on the morning drill, scores and information on your favorite teams.
Yesterday, we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva.
U.S. President Donald Trump touted his administration's agreement with China to slash tariffs on each other for 90 days. saying it was proof his aggressive strategy was paying dividends.
Think about it. We opened up our country to China. They have very few restrictions. And they didn't open their country to us. Never made sense to me. It's not fair. And they've agreed to open China, fully open China. And I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us.
The two sides said that under the temporary truce, the U.S. will cut extra tariffs it imposed on Chinese imports last month from 145% to 30% for the next 3 months, while Chinese duties on U.S. imports will fall to 10% from 125%.
We've gone from okay to apocalyptic to sort of merely bad.
Marcus Noland is the Executive Vice President and Director of Studies for the Peterson Institute for International Economics.
Where they were last week was absolutely apocalyptic. It would have resulted in supply chain disruptions that would have been something like the pandemic. There would have effectively been no trade between the United States and China. So a tariff of 30% is a high tariff, but it's a tariff that at least has a certain degree of flexibility and will allow life to go on, albeit at higher prices and maybe with greater uncertainty and delays.
Financial markets cheered the reprieve in a conflict that had brought nearly $600 billion in two-way trade to a standstill, disrupting supply chains and triggering layoffs. Shipping industry representatives said many companies may restart loadings of goods to get shipments in while tariffs were still low. But the uncertainty around any eventual deal may leave businesses wary of ramping up orders dramatically. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who led the weekend talks with China, said the next meeting had not yet been set, but that the sides were ready to continue negotiating.
Wall Street's main indexes closed sharply higher on Monday, with the Dow gaining 2.8%, the S&P 500 climbing 3.25%, and the Nasdaq rising more than 4.3%. Stocks soared after the U.S. and China announced on Monday that they would slash steep tariffs on each other for 90 days. While the tariff truce pushed investors into stocks, it pulled them out of treasuries, lifting the 10-year yield to nearly 4.5%. Alexander Morris, CEO of FM Investments, said that signaled concerns about where President Trump's tariff policy may ultimately settle.
The bond market is still flashing a sign that this is great news for the next 90 days. But they're growing a little bit tired of these 90-day extensions. Eventually, both the stock and bond market is going to want some permanency to some of these trade restriction changes. But so far, for investors, it looks like it's going to be a good week without needing that permanent change.
Among Monday's stock moves, Apple rallied more than 6% after a report said the tech giant was considering raising the prices of its fall iPhone lineup. The rest of the Magnificent Seven megacaps also gained, with Amazon and Meta platforms rising roughly 8% and Tesla gaining nearly 7%. And shares of NRG Energy soared more than 26% after the company said it would acquire power generation assets from energy infrastructure investment firm LS Power in a deal valued at $12 billion.
Japanese stocks led gains in Asia on Tuesday after a US deal with China to slash tariffs exceeded investor expectations. Tokyo's Nikkei index jumped around 1.5% in early trade. There was a similar rise for equities in Taiwan and more modest gains for Shanghai and Seoul. In Hong Kong, stocks fell 1%, however. Markets there had still been trading when news of the agreement broke on Monday, with stocks in the city enjoying their post-deal jump a day earlier than the rest of Asia. The outcome, agreed after weekend talks in Geneva, surpassed most market expectations. It will see a 90-day pause in tit-for-tat tariffs and drastic cuts in the recently imposed levies. One analyst called it a nice big surprise for both sides of the Pacific. The news sapped support for traditional safe havens, with gold down over 3% on Monday, and then edging lower again on Tuesday morning. However, tariffs remain significantly higher than they were before Donald Trump sparked the trade war, and there is still huge uncertainty about what happens next. Peterson Institute for Economics Executive Vice President Marcus Noland is betting the 90-day pause will become permanent. But he says that won't end all problems.
We won't be completely out of the woods. President Trump is talking about putting tariffs on other products, namely pharmaceuticals, which we get a lot from China and India. So that could, if he moved forward with that action, that could once again raise tariffs and also could once again scramble relations with China.
Economists remain concerned about what higher tariffs will mean for global growth, and that's far from the only worry. Investors are also watching what Trump's planned tax cuts will mean for US public debt levels. One said the trade deal doesn't mean uncertainty has gone away. It's just moved to a new area. A day after news of the US-China agreement on trade, there were signs of further steps being taken. Speaking in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the agreement had created a mechanism to avoid escalation. He said the US did not want to see a general decoupling of the two countries' economies.
What we want is the US is going to decouple in strategic industries, which we saw during COVID. We had become woefully non-self-sufficient.
The new agreement set a 90-day pause under which most of the levies recently imposed would be drastically reduced. Among concrete steps, Washington said late Monday it would slash the levies imposed on so-called de minimis shipments, low-value packages that used to be duty-free. The US had hiked tariffs on the parcels to 120%, but will now bring them back down to 54%. That's likely to be a boost for online giants like Temu and Shein, which have built their rapid growth on the de minimis provision. However, a minimum flat fee of $100 will remain in place. In a further move, China has removed a ban on its airlines taking delivery of Boeing jets. That's according to Bloomberg News, which says the move follows the trade agreement. There was no comment on the report from Boeing or Beijing. Excitement over the trade deal initially lifted global stocks on Tuesday, but some of the optimism later waned, with equities in Shanghai closing broadly flat. Economists pointed out that the agreement still leaves average tariffs significantly higher than they were before the turmoil began.
Tech chaos at Newark Liberty Airport saw a spike in cancellations and delays in recent weeks, disrupting one of the busiest airports in the United States. Now regulators say they're setting up an emergency task force to look into the outages that cut off communication between pilots and air traffic control. Officials blame the Philadelphia-based facility that guides air traffic in and out of Newark. The latest outage on Sunday forced a 45-minute ground stop, and air traffic slowed to a crawl. On Monday, U.S. Transport Chief Sean Duffy said creaking infrastructure is at the root of the problem.
This system is so old that even if you have high-speed fiber information coming in to a TRACON or a tower, the equipment that we use is so old, the information has to be slowed down. It comes in too fast. It has to go at the speed of copper wires. My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old. And we are fighting to make sure we work with Congress, get the money, and begin this build of a brand new system as quickly as possible.
Last year, the FAA relocated control of the Newark airspace to Philadelphia to address staffing and congested New York City area traffic. Aviation expert Michael McCormick at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University says a complicated link to relay information from New York to Philadelphia failing is what's led to the problems today.
So have a backup line put in place and increase the bandwidth of the available information between the New York TRACON and the Philadelphia Approach Control, which they're in the process of doing. In addition to that, look at getting fiber optic, high capacity, high bandwidth fiber optic to go directly from the radar and radio sites to Philadelphia to provide them with that information.
Right now, the FAA is about 3,500 air traffic controllers below targeted staffing levels. And McCormick points to further staffing woes at the Philadelphia facility.
When this happened a week ago, several air traffic controllers were traumatized by the loss of the radar, and they took what's known as traumatic leave, which means they'll be gone for up to 45 days. So that definitely impacts our staffing levels at Philadelphia to provide services for Newark.
Newark has also closed one of its 2 primary runways for construction, adding to the chaos. The FAA says it plans to meet with airlines this Wednesday to discuss flight cuts at Newark. It said ahead of the meeting, the airport is clearly unable to handle the current level of scheduled operations.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. Light rain early, remaining cloudy with showers this afternoon, and temperatures today in the upper 60s. Showers early, cloudy overnight with lows in the upper 50s. On into Wednesday, cloudy, low 70s. Thursday, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, upper 70s. Friday, morning thunderstorms, a high of 80. Saturday, showers with temps in the upper 70s. Meadville this morning at 63 degrees and rain. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh, rain and 63. Titusville, rain 61. Franklin, rain 63. Oil City, rain and 62 degrees here at 7:52. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Glad you're with us here on this Tuesday morning. We mentioned next hour we've got Joe Tech joining us and Gary Glunt, who's going to be talking about finance. So I see these stories all the time. I get your take on them. I can even ask Gary, but stupid things to spend your money on. And the one that always comes, in this case, on this list, it's number 1. But I always see it on these lists where it says car insurance. So I don't know if that means that, people should shop around.
I think everybody should check their policy and make sure that they have the thing. Not
The
just
right
the
fit.
things that they don't need to be removed, but the things that they need, because a lot of people are actually underinsured or have things on their policy that really don't make sense. They actually need to sit down and talk to their agent. There's, like, never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm making fun of you. There's just a lot of things that, like, on our policy, sitting down looking at them, like, okay, well, certain things don't, make sense, and we were lucky enough to make those changes. But then, our family, our kids are driving, and we're
we also have a good
adding
agent, though, who comes to us and says,
We do.
hey, I don't know if you need this. Maybe we should try this.
Correct.
So,
Correct. And you get what you pay for. 'Cause there are so many people that are like, well, I'm saving so much a year, but you're not getting the coverage that you need, or you're not getting the quality of care that you deserve. So you kind of get what you pay for sometimes. And
yeah. Okay. Number 2 on this list of dumb things that people spend their money on: credit card debt.
Agreed.
One of the things they say is try to get things paid off, or get it down so you're just paying on one thing instead of...
Yeah, consolidating, going and getting a personal loan and consolidating. Otherwise, you're going to be paying the minimum payments for a really long time. And I think that the big thing is, once you pay it off, destroy it. Like, if you having one credit card is all that you need. Period. At the end. Ta-da. You do not need a million credit cards. And having that one credit card for emergency purposes only is completely fine, just as long as you don't keep a balance on it.
Okay. Next on the list, phone games.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Go ahead.
Well, people spend a lot of money
No,
on...
they do. It's exhausting. And then they get hacked, and then they don't understand. And I didn't do that. Well, then you retrace the steps of, and it goes all the way back to that game that you gave your checking account information for. Okay, sorry.
No.
I hate phone games, but go ahead.
Okay, next on this list, home insurance. Same thing as auto, right? Make sure you have...
Yes. It's not like something that you spend money on that you shouldn't spend money on, because I can't tell you how many times, you go, like, I see with what I do, somebody who didn't have insurance or was underinsured and now they no longer have a home, and it's heartbreaking. You need to have insurance, but you also have to make sure that you have the correct amount of coverage, and you're not.
Now,
it doesn't make yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, next on the list, home repairs. And that we're not talking like the emergency things that need to come up. Like if you get a broken window in the wintertime, you got to replace that. But maybe projects you don't necessarily need to start. I always get mad at you because you're like, well, we're going to do this. And then it's like, well, yeah, but you start something and there's a good chance it's going to lead to something else. And we're not ready for that something else yet.
Mm-hmm. I get mad at you because something that is an easy fix right now, you put off, and it turns into something much bigger. But go ahead.
Yeah. Now, what about this one's titled "Leaving Cash on the Table," just in terms of checking and savings accounts. I know that you're not really going to make a lot of money off of the interest on that stuff, but there are opportunities to maybe move money into different accounts.
Yeah, correct. And if you have online banking, it makes it so much easier to move the money back and forth. Just be careful of what your account's restrictions are, because you could be charged a fee. It just based on the account of type of account that you have. Said that backwards completely. But as long as you know what kind of account you have, you can move money back and forth. And it's super easy to say my paycheck is going, this amount goes into my checking account because this is what my bills are, and this amount goes into my savings account so you can earn interest. There's also products that are more fluid that give you interest.
Yeah. Restaurants and meal delivery. This is something that comes up. So here's the thing. Like during COVID, I think everybody sort of got trained to tip somebody when you went and picked up your food.
Right.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know.
Because nobody ever tipped, right, before COVID?
Right.
If they went and picked their food up. Am I wrong on that?
There were still some.
Not to the extent of 20% or whatever. Maybe if they had a couple bucks, maybe they're throwing it in the tip jar or something like that. But
yeah, now it's like you feel obligated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get
So
you.
what's the?
I don't know. I guess if like our order comes to $47.18, I'll round it up to 50 or whatever just to even it out. But I don't know.
But if you're picking it up, are you really giving 20% or 15% or whatever it is you would normally tip at a restaurant? Like if we sit down for a meal,
yeah,
and we're being waited on, if the service is good, at least 20%.
Yeah. I don't think I'm tipping 20% for pickup. I think I'm tipping something.
Okay, see, that's where I feel guilty about that when they hand it to you. Because now, everything's like, you just sort of check the box and...
Yeah. No, I don't think 20% is for pickup is,
Okay. One more on the list, groceries and, like going shopping when you're hungry.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. For me, it's horrible.
It's
yeah.
bad. I feel like
Oh, that looks good. That looks good.
Decent.
That looks good.
And then I don't want to wait to make anything,
yes.
so I go through drive-through anyway.
Yeah, well, so Amy's really good at having everything written down and budgeted, but she still insists that I go with her, and that's when it causes trouble.
Yeah. And then he makes fun of me because I lay everything out on the belt according to how I want it in the bag.
Oh, don't even start. She actually last weekend put the groceries back in the cart because I didn't put them on the conveyor belt right.
I did.
She put them back in the cart.
I have them in order, like refrigerator, freezer.
Help is on line 2
cleaning
for you.
items,
and I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings, but I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
Are you tired of juggling multiple pill bottles? Titusville Express Pharmacy has your solution, now offering compliance packaging. Your medication sorted and sealed by dose, making it easier than ever to stay on track. In a hurry? Take advantage of our convenient drive-through service. We also offer free local delivery for those that qualify. Titusville Express Pharmacy, where convenience meets care. Visit us today at 401 West Spring Street in Titusville. Simplify your medication routine with Titusville Express Pharmacy.
Poppy's Equipment and Storage Rental in Pleasantville is committed to providing our customers with exceptional service while offering quality rental equipment. Poppy's is now an authorized steel dealer with everything you need to have for sawing and cutting or mowing to digging. And of course, Poppy's has tents, tables, chairs, heaters, generators, barbecues, and more for your next wedding or get-together. Need firewood or propane? No problem. Whether you're in construction or a weekend warrior, reach out to Poppy's about your next project. Poppy's Place on the Tenesta Road in Pleasantville. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, serving Crawford, Venango, Forest, and Warren counties. Their mission is to provide quality, low-cost, and personal financial products for the growth and security of their members and families. Stop in, call, or visit our website, communityconnectfcu.com, and click Join to get started. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, 1050 East Spring Street in Titusville.
For a unique shopping experience with great gift ideas, decor, and so much more, come check out what Titusville Market Square's nearly 100 vendors have to offer. Featuring unique items from local agribusiness, craftsmen, and vendors, we also offer products from 4 regional dairies, including a full line of Titusville dairy products. We carry a complete line of Amish wedding products, local honey, and maple syrup, as well as nostalgic Dog and Suds root beer and Fiestada pizzas. Don't forget to pick up fresh Clark's Donuts, delivered daily. Titusville Market Square, the new name in one-stop shopping.
Who can solve this equation?
Ooh! Me.
Anyone else? Fine. Jake from State Farm. Again.
All right. It's the personal price plan theorem. If you bundle your home and auto, that can equal an affordable price just for you.
Bundling. Just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Fat Chad's Brewing is Titusville's premier dining destination, offering fine dining served with a cold beverage and great conversations. Try our new menu items, the T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Our pasta entries and sandwiches are just as popular. Try the new lobster ravioli, shrimp and scallop pasta, or our popular Asiago chicken. Don't forget about our famous burgers or fish sandwich, all served with fresh cut fries. Come in Saturday nights for Wild Game Saturdays. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
For over 11 years, Triple M Roofing has been providing Amish quality craftsmanship and work ethic that you can rely on. Pole barns, decks, porches, siding, and almost all roofing needs, Triple M Roofing will get the job done on time without sacrificing quality or the promise to deliver within your budget. Call today for a free estimate, 814-964-0472. Waiting is what you'll do with the other guys. Getting it done is what we do. Amish owned and operated, we're Triple M Roofing.
Wall Street's main indexes closed sharply higher on Monday, with the Dow gaining 2.8%, the S&P 500 climbing 3.25%, and the Nasdaq rising more than 4.3%. Stocks soared after the U.S. and China announced on Monday that they would slash steep tariffs on each other for 90 days. While the tariff truce pushed investors into stocks, it pulled them out of treasuries, lifting the 10-year yield to nearly 4.5%. Alexander Morris, CEO of FM Investments, said that signaled concerns about where President Trump's tariff policy may ultimately settle.
The bond market is still flashing a sign that this is great news for the next 90 days. But they're growing a little bit tired of these 90-day extensions. Eventually, both the stock and bond market is going to want some permanency to some of these trade restriction changes. But so far, for investors, it looks like it's going to be a good week without needing that permanent change.
Among Monday's stock moves, Apple rallied more than 6% after a report said the tech giant was considering raising the prices of its fall iPhone lineup. The rest of the Magnificent Seven megacaps also gained, with Amazon and Meta platforms rising roughly 8% and Tesla gaining nearly 7%. And shares of NRG Energy soared more than 26% after the company said it would acquire power generation assets from energy infrastructure investment firm LS Power in a deal valued at $12 billion.
Well, joining us this morning is Mr. Joe Tech. Hello, Joe Tech.
Hello, Luke.
How's it going?
Good, Neil.
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Another exciting week.
Another exciting week. The tech news never stops, Luke.
Never stops.
Never stops. And leading off, we have huge breaking news from Google. Something that hasn't happened in more than a decade, Luke.
More than a decade?
More than a decade.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I don't think you can handle this news.
I'll sit down.
Okay. Google is changing its G logo.
Wow.
Yeah. That's as exciting as I got for you, Luke.
Why?
I don't know. Because it's been 10 years and they've got this group of people that are marketers sitting around. Gee, what do? I don't really know why we get paid to be here. Let's change the logo. So their G logo is a G with 4 different colors. It goes red, yellow, green, and then blue, with a hard line between each color. And now it's just going to be a gradient. So it'll go from red gradient into yellow, then gradient into green.
So they're not like changing the font. They're just changing.
No, the font appears to stay the same. They're just changing how the colors blend into each other now.
So the one here on the left is the original, or is the old logo?
Yep, the one on the right
so
is the new logo. Yeah. That's the big news out of Google today.
Okay.
Other news.
I can't say anything because I have a sheet over there with our logo and us changing the font.
Oh.
So
it's what they do sometimes just to I don't know, maybe they didn't have much. They felt like there hadn't been news, so that's like, okay, we've been sitting on this for a slow news day. Let's go ahead and unveil it. And that's kind of what they do sometimes.
Well, in our case, we're looking to make things a little more uniform across the board. So the Stream TV and Stream Sports kind of has a
unified feel.
Yeah.
Yep. And that happens a lot too. Yeah.
So we're becoming adults now, Joe.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to like, we just put this. I've looked at logos from the past, like when I'm like, oh, I can't believe I went with that.
Every company does it. They want to make sure they're not getting stale. Opening a new branch, celebrating an anniversary. It's time to change things up just to get everybody excited and spark a little interest. And yeah.
So networks, in terms of sports, will change out their graphics. Usually the Super Bowl is when they launch their new trend for the following few seasons until they get the Super Bowl again. I don't know if you remember, but Fox.
Yeah. You had pointed this out to me before the Super Bowl, so now I'm like always watching, like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Fox got blasted for their very poor design.
It's very minimalistic, is maybe a polite way of saying it.
Sure.
Don't most of them, though, because people do, that's long enough for people to really get used to the way things look, and people like the way things look. And when you go with such a drastic change that it kind of throws people off for a while. But if you just go with it, people will get used to it. And
there's stupid things. So there's a network we kind of follow with our design looks. And
Nickelodeon,
yeah, but that'd be great. No, so close, CBS. So we kind of mimic that style. So one Super Bowl, the graphics really didn't change, other than they removed the borders from around all their graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it takes a while. You look at it and go, boy, that's horrible. That's horrible. And then we start playing with it, and it's like, okay, maybe that looks kind of cool. And then you get, as you said, you kind of get used to it.
And then you're like, no, you take a little step back and objectively, like, am I just so used to the other one? Because this kind of looks good.
Yeah. Well, and we were showing a game from like 2 years ago the other day, and Adam and I were both looking at it, going, okay, that one had the border. I said, which one do you like better? He goes, I think I like it without.
Yeah.
And at first we didn't. And we actually waited, I think, a year before we launched it without.
Oh, okay.
Because we were both. But I think we got used to watching it on TV, where it's like, okay, that looks kind of neat. Yeah. Now, here, again, I don't get. Somebody, I think, posted within like 5 minutes of the game starting, like them making it in, some Microsoft Paint app.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Spartan. Big and blocky is another term you could use.
Yes, which, by the way, a lot of companies are looking for that kind of font for their company.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is it's easy to read. I mean, if because you gotta look at a lot of things like your demographics. Who's going to be watching this? Is it older people? Maybe they want it a little big and blocky and easier to read. There's a lot that goes into all that, and I do somewhat make light of it, but there is an importance to it, and there is some thought that goes into it if you're doing it right. So
it's going to be kind of interesting to see, because I think the feedback has been unanimous with the design.
Yeah.
Will Fox go back to their previous set of graphics, or will they make an adjustment?
Or I'm going to transition into a car manufacturing analogy. A lot of times they'll come out with a new design that maybe they didn't fetter enough, and people don't like it, and they'll do what's called a mid-cycle refresh. So they'll update the styling a little bit. Typically a car manufacturing cycle is like, 5 to 6 years between full redesigns with new underpinnings and everything, but halfway through they'll do a mid-cycle refresh, just update the styling a little bit, not change the underpins, keep it fresh. If they get a really bad review and people don't like it, they'll do that mid-cycle refresh like maybe a year in instead of 2 years in, just because they want to get that cleaned up as quickly as possible. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe it won't be a clean sheet or a reboot to back what they had, but maybe they'll be like, okay, what can we adjust or tweak? Keep the same basic idea. Maybe we do add a border to make it
something, right?
Yeah, make it look a little different. Maybe soften it up a little bit. So it will be. You're right. It will be interesting to see how they adjust, if at all.
Here's a really dumb question: do car manufacturers look at like the phone industry and go, boy, you know, there's an expectation of a new phone every year, so we need to make sure we are tweaking our models every year to make it, you know, that new and exciting. Now the 25s have this, and wait till you know the 26 are going to have, because there was a time, you're right, where, you know, a car model really wouldn't change until that next big cycle.
Yeah. So what they do, and they've been doing it before phones, in my opinion. So yes, you would have that 5-year period, and back in the day, yes, you would have a couple years where they wouldn't change at all. But they've gotten to where here's the brand new model, and so that excitement drives sales. Year 2, we're not changing the styling, but maybe we're adding options, or we're adding, Volkswagen is good for this as well as the Mustang. We're going to add a special version or a special, the Bullet Mustang or whatever, the Volkswagen, whatever edition, and it's got different special packages that you can buy. So something every year that, yes, drives excitement without having to redesign it from the get-go. And a lot of times they have those built in. It's just a matter of we're going to hold that one back. We'll give that year 1. We'll give them this year 2, just to keep driving that excitement and keep those sales up. So yes, they do and have been doing that for quite some time. It's not, but again, we see that with tech devices too. We talk all the time like, well, what's different? Not really anything. Okay, they put the new chip in and they put a better camera in, and that's basically all they did this time. So yeah, we see the same kind of parallels in a bunch of different brands.
Well, and those manufacturers also are struggling to find out what's going on in the tech industry. Okay, are you making a change? Are we including like Apple CarPlay? Are we doing this other stuff? Are you changing anything there? I see that you can get devices now, like at the store, for $50 that if you have like an older model that doesn't have CarPlay, I don't know if it works or how well it works.
I haven't tried them either. I've thought about it, but it's like,
I want to spend $50 on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got other places for a moment I need to go. My 6-block commute, I wouldn't really use it a whole lot, so like, we'll just listen to the radio for those 2 songs and go with that. So, yeah. I had something else and I lost it. You got me going.
I'm sorry.
That. No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I'll think of it as soon as we go off the air. But
so a new G for Google.
A new G for Google. Oh, that's what it was. A new car brand. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to devote a little more time to that. I'm kind of excited about it.
Oh.
No, it doesn't come with a stereo.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's a great idea.
All right.
But we'll talk about that another day.
I showed you that fancy car, right? That there's like no steering wheel either.
Oh, I don't think you showed me that.
It lights up like it's all like LED, and then there's like a little, I don't know, almost like a gear shift, but it maneuvers the car.
Oh, no, you didn't show me that one.
All right, I'll look it up while you do the next story.
Okay. I have another story that is very not exciting. Oh. But we spent 20 minutes talking about a redesigned logo. So news that will surprise no one is there was a story out about Apple going to raise its prices on its devices coming up this fall. And it's a weird article because they do that just about every year. I know they held off during the COVID year there, or maybe 2, but kind of anticipated it. But the whole premise of the article was that they want to make sure that everybody's aware that it's not because of tariffs. So, like, it just seemed like a weird article, and it wasn't anything official by Apple. It was just rumors. But it's not because of tariffs. Like, it just seemed really weird. Like, okay.
Not to go back to cars, but there's a number of car commercials that are promoted. They'll say in the commercial, these prices are, before any tariff changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because I think they were nixing some of that stuff with the auto industry.
They were, yeah. And they were given exemptions for tech-related items to some extent, too. So it's all weird. And now, there's supposedly a deal with China, and we're all good to go anyway. So, and Apple's already shifting, and maybe that was the thing, is they just, because Apple's shifting some of their production to India, hopefully again to America. iPhones that are made in India would come to America. Ones in China could go other places. So it was just a matter of shifting where things came from to try and avoid some of that. But it just seemed like a really odd story. But it's like, well, yeah, they raise the prices every year. But no, it's tied to new features and in the new product. Has nothing to do with tariffs. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're hyping everybody up that it's going to be, the new devices are going to be actually significantly changed this time.
This is the biggest, greatest device we've ever made.
But they're really pushing back on pushing AI into the devices. Like, they're using it for them, but they're not really, I think they see people not really using it that much and not all that excited about it, so they're kind of holding back.
I noticed on my latest update, if I come into an area without service, the Starlink satellite option pops up now.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Now, I haven't used it. I don't know if that's an extra fee.
It's supposed to not be an extra fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And kind of along the lines of Starlink, we used it now for baseball, softball, and track. Not one issue.
You've got pretty good ideal conditions down there. Like, you can
find.
Well,
track was interesting because we were under power lines and it was really cloudy.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about the power lines, but I was thinking you can find areas where you can set it out. There's nothing in the way. You got a really nice view of the sky. But yeah, those power lines. I think that might be our other part of our other issue. Either that or the bleachers or a combination of the both.
Well, we'll tweak that for next year. We got to write that down. You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Joe Tech with us here this morning. Joe, I know you got a lot of other things. I'm just going to put this on the screen real quick. This is from Mercedes.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
I think I did see that, but I don't remember if you showed me or not.
Crazy.
Yeah. Mercedes is getting pretty good at putting some pretty crazy out there concepts that are like, I don't know that we'll ever see that.
Let me see if I can get an inside shot here. I mean, the technology, well, that's the inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so no steering wheel. It's that.
Oh, that's very Flight of the Navigator in there, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. That's a deep pull for.
Well, I think all these companies, whether it's car manufacturers or cell phone, whatever it is with technology, you're creating these things, getting it out there, mocking these, designs just to grab some headlines, grab some attention.
But yeah, and that's what a lot of those concept cars are, is just to grab your attention and maybe to some extent see what people like and don't like, to maybe pull pieces into future models. They'll do that with with a lot of concept cars. Like, oh, I really don't like that nose. Okay, scrap that. Nobody likes that. Or, I really like those wheels. Okay, well, maybe we can, calm them down a little bit and maybe have some of our vehicles with those kind of wheels, or something like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of that going into those concepts. So.
Any other headlines?
A story out of Reuters. China is going all in on humanoid robots. Yeah, it's a big story. I think one of the things that they miss in the article, though, is the fact that there was a spot where they were talking about losing jobs, and there's always a concern with robots of losing jobs. I think for China, they're not real. The state media comes out with, well, as with most other, industrial revolutions, you end up with just more jobs. They're just different. So that's what we're anticipating.
Well, China has a population issue right now.
Well, and that's what I think they miss in the article is that, I think China's all in, and the state is pushing like $20 billion this year into humanoid robots. I think it's because they are concerned that they don't have enough replacement people, and they don't like immigration. So there's not a lot of people immigrating into China. They don't like that. So I think that's a big issue with them, and so that's why the Chinese government is really pushing that, because they don't have enough people to make all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't want to lose what they have in that. They like being a manufacturing hub.
Well, that's why I'm kind of amazed it hasn't been more of a story here with the tariff talk. Like, yeah, we might be feeling a pinch, or the initial thought till yesterday happened, but what it's doing in China is probably more devastating.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the people.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole ripple effect there with a lot of the other things that surround that talk.
Yeah.
But
I'm frankly a little bit surprised that China isn't trying to follow the United States model and turn into more of a service economy and let somebody else manufacture cheaply and just turn into a, because they do have that population that's declining, and they should at this point have enough wealth that they could do that. But I don't know. It's not as open of an economy, when the state kind of dictates everything. That.
Well, and they had stopped reporting some numbers too, like unemployment numbers. It hit pretty high, and then all of a sudden they just stopped announcing it. So,
yeah.
Trump says he'll extend the deadline again if a TikTok sale is not done.
Okay. I wonder if that's just going to be kind of we'll get through 4 years of Trump and we'll still be on extension number 7 or 8. Like, it's fine. We're still working on it. I suspect that maybe now that if relations have cooled, now that the trade, deal has come to fruition, now maybe they can kind of focus their attention back on TikTok and get that figured out. Or maybe that was part of the capitulation. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about. Maybe he said, look, you keep TikTok, I'll just keep extending the deadline if we can get this squared away. I mean, it could have been used as a tool. Who knows? So.
Okay. Any fun summer gadgets to be thinking about?
Oh, fun summer gadgets. No, not really.
No high-tech grills for Memorial Day weekend?
No, nobody wants a high-tech grill. Just leave the grills
I know.
alone.
That's...
We're still having debates over charcoal versus propane, Luke. Let alone getting any more high-tech. Just go out and get a really nice Bluetooth speaker, or get a couple that can pair together so that you can have your speakers and somebody can play DJ. That's what my suggestion would be.
Excellent suggestion.
Yeah.
Joe, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
All right, Joe Tech joining us here. See you soon.
See you soon.
and I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings, but I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Ray and Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today, or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
Wall Street's main indexes closed sharply higher on Monday, with the Dow gaining 2.8%, the S&P 500 climbing 3.25%, and the Nasdaq rising more than 4.3%. Stocks soared after the U.S. and China announced on Monday that they would slash steep tariffs on each other for 90 days. While the tariff truce pushed investors into stocks, it pulled them out of treasuries, lifting the 10-year yield to nearly 4.5%. Alexander Morris, CEO of FM Investments, said that signaled concerns about where President Trump's tariff policy may ultimately settle.
The bond market is still flashing a sign that this is great news for the next 90 days. But they're growing a little bit tired of these 90-day extensions. Eventually, both the stock and bond market is going to want some permanency to some of these trade restriction changes. But so far, for investors, it looks like it's going to be a good week without needing that permanent change.
Among Monday's stock moves, Apple rallied more than 6% after a report said the tech giant was considering raising the prices of its fall iPhone lineup. The rest of the Magnificent Seven megacaps also gained, with Amazon and Meta platforms rising roughly 8% and Tesla gaining nearly 7%. And shares of NRG Energy soared more than 26% after the company said it would acquire power generation assets from energy infrastructure investment firm LS Power in a deal valued at $12 billion.
Well, here's a real quick look at your forecast for Northwest Pennsylvania. Light rain early on, remaining cloudy with showers this afternoon. Upper 60s for a high. Showers early tonight, then cloudy overnight with lows in the upper 50s. Wednesday, cloudy, low 70s. Thursday, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, highs in the upper 70s. Friday, thunderstorms in the morning with a high of 80. And Saturday, rain showers with temperatures in the upper 70s. Meadville checking in at 63 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 64. Titusville, 61. Franklin, 63. Oil City, 62 degrees here at 8:38. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Well, joining us this morning is Gary Glunt, who has been providing some great advice on just financial intelligence and savings and all sorts of things. Gary, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you again, Luke.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's so much out there in the world, and it was just crazy to hear like what happened yesterday with the tariff talk and like $2 trillion flooding Wall Street almost, and it's amazing.
It is, the stock market, right? Okay. This has nothing to do with really what we're talking about today, other than just talking that. But in the short term, the stock market does wild, crazy things, right? And a lot of it is based on information that goes out, right? What's happening in that day, that type of thing, and for us lay people, right, to try and mess with that, right, to try and, we call it time the market, right, it's impossible, right? Good luck, and that kind of thing. So you see these swings up and down and that kind of thing. Now, the thing though is if policies are put in place that the stock market doesn't like, right, and they continue to stay in place, then then you have long downturn trends, right? And you know, and that can lead to, you know, needless to say, you know, us having problems with our retirement, right, and our 401ks and 403bs and that type of thing. But you know, the fluctuations in the stock market happen all the time.
Do you think the national talk, though, can help spark interest in doing the things that you have control over and your, you know, financial planning and looking at what accounts you might want to move money into?
So I guess the answer to that is to not really, not on a short-term basis, right? You don't want to make a decision based on something that just happened one day, you know.
I guess what I'm saying, like, if you watch golf on TV and you go, well, okay, it's time for me to get out and play golf. You know, do you look at the markets and go, boy, yeah, you know what? I got to make sure I'm investing in.
Oh, so no, I don't. Okay, but only because I'm not that guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. So you know, I have friends that will sit there and do that and say, hey, you know, I should be doing this right now. I should be doing that right now. Every financial vehicle that we have has a purpose that people use it for, right? And so you have to decide, you know, you have to know what the purposes are, you know, or should know what the purposes are, and then decide how you want to use that, right? So when I look at the stock market, I'm a long-term player, right? So, you know, the stock market to me is a place for me to earn wealth over time. And so that's how I use it. Now, I know there's other people that use it much differently than that, you know, and that kind of thing. So, you know, you have to, you know, so me, no, I like, whatever it does today, I don't care about. Whatever it does next week, I don't care. Now, when I got close to retirement and I had to make a decision what I was going to do, okay, now you worry about it, right? Now you have to look and say, hey, you know, are things happening that I need to be aware of, and do I need to make a change, right?
It's like farming or advertising. You're planting seeds for, you know, success down the road.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, if you're using it that way, that's how I use it, right? I use it to plant the seed so that now that I'm retired, now I have what I need, right?
Yeah, you're not planting potatoes today because you want to have a potato tonight.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
So that kind of leads into, you know, summer's around the corner, and you've got kids that are going to be starting a job or graduating, starting a job, or just, you know, a summer job till school starts up again. Here's an opportunity to start gathering those seeds, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, there are going to be a lot of things going on, right? So graduation parties are going to be happening, right? Kids are starting, may have already started their part-time jobs, may going to be starting those part-time jobs. And in the world, right, there's certain things that you need to look down the road for, right? Okay? And if you wait too long, things get harder, right? So it's so funny. I'll talk, like, if I get a chance, like if I was teaching 14, 15-year-olds, right? I'll talk to them about retirement. And they're like, Mr. Glunt, I haven't even started working yet. What should I worry about retirement for? But if you learn how money works, not only should you be thinking about retirement and doing something about retirement because of the advantages of the three things we talked about, right? Time, amount, and rate, right? They have time on their side. So let's use it, you know? And so now you got these kids, right? You know, some of them are starting jobs and graduation parties, right? They're going to get money for that. Now they have to decide, hey, what am I going to do with this? And one thing that I try to say every time I make a financial decision is this: is it going to cost me money or is it going to make me money? Okay? And so one of the, you know, when I'm talking to, and this goes for anybody at any age, right? You know, but especially when I'm talking with kids, I'll pull out their cell phone. I'll say, all right, this cell phone, is that thing costing you money or making you money? Right? And I tell them, if all you're doing is, you know, kissy wissy huggy wuggy on the, you know, and that, you know, texting and stuff like that, and how you doing, how am I doing, that thing's doing nothing but costing you money. It's not making you a dime. Now, can you turn that into an asset that's making you money? Absolutely. All right. And so now we get this graduation money, right? Okay. So graduation parties are going to start happening. And now we can go spend it and buy things that cost us money, right? Or we can use it to our advantage and have us make us money, right? And so, and again, this is a learning process. If you're sitting there right now going, well, geez, I don't know what things to do, well, then don't spend it. Right? And put it like we talked about. That's what that savings account's for, right? Let's stick it over there till we know what we want to do with it, right? For something that's going to make us money, So if I was thinking about this on the way here today, right? And thinking about how money works through investing, right? And it's not the only way to make money, right? But it's one of the ways. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I was young again, and somebody had talked to me about this when I was younger, I would have taken the first 5 years of my life and I wouldn't have spent a dime. I would have kept every dime I could, and I would have slammed that money away for 5 years. And I can't even imagine I can't imagine. That's how you
figured
would
this
be,
out, did you?
Yeah, you would be when you hit 50, 55, you would be sitting so pretty it would be ridiculous, and so so now it says, all right, we got this, we got our first paycheck, right? Okay, let's start with the paycheck. All right, want to talk about first of all young workers, okay, and this applies to more workers, but it's specifically for young workers, okay, and that is this: when you go to get a job, you fill out a W-4 form, okay. And there's some rules on that W-4. And a W-4, for those of us who aren't sure what the W-4 form is, that's the form that tells your employer what they're supposed to take out of your paycheck for federal taxes, okay? And one of the things that happens is a lot of kids go in, right? They got their part-time job, all right? And the key number here for this year is $15,000, right? So, and $15,000 is the standard deduction for 2025 on your federal taxes, which means if these youngsters aren't making over $15,000 in a year, they're giving money to the federal government for free. And they're going to get it all back when they file their taxes at the end of the year, okay? And so, what they need to know is if they know they're not going to make over $15,000, you can write exempt on a W-4 form. And now you get to use your money for the year, okay? Well, now here comes the decision, right? So now I get my money, right? I do my exempt thing on the W-4, okay? And now they put that money in my paycheck. So I can spend it, or I can do what the federal government does with your money, right? And that's invested, right? So now, instead of the government being able to invest that money, we can now invest that money into something, right? And so that's the decision that now they can make because they've given themselves that opportunity to be able to do that, all right? So then, well, what do you do with it? Well, you look for the first thing you do is you don't do something rash, right? And that, again, if you don't know what to do with it, don't go just spend it on stuff, right? Another thing that I say to youngsters, and it's true, okay? Every time they spend $1 on something that is just something, right? Like a bottle of water or a pack of gum or whatever, okay? You just threw $1 million away. Yeah, and they look at me like, what are you talking about? You just threw $1 million away, So the math works out. It goes something like this. If you put $1 a day away into, we talked about mutual funds, right? Something earning 10%, okay? And people say, oh, you can't get 10%. Yes, you can get 10%. You just got to look for it, right? Okay. I think we showed the one Vanguard index that has averaged 11%, right, over the last since 1967, I think it was, and I think that's what the date was, or maybe it was 77. And so if you take $1 a day away, put it away for 60 years, and a 10% investment, you got 1 point something million dollars. So every time you spend that dollar on something that is just stuff, you have thrown away $1 million, right? And so then kids say, well, geez, I don't want to wait 60 years. Well, neither do I. You know, if you're let's say 18 years old and you wait 60 years, you're 78 years old to have $1 million, right? Well, now you throw more money at it. You know, so instead of $1 a day, let's put $2 a day away, right? Let's put $3 a day. And I asked the youngsters, I say, how many of you could do $2 a day? How many of you'd blow $2 a day on something else, right? Now that time period just got shorter, right? And so
by a lot,
right? And you had $3 a day, and now it just got even shorter, right? Yeah. And so, and so we need to learn what we can do with our money, right? And that's just one thing you can do, right? The key is don't throw it away, right? Yeah. And so let's take graduation, right? So now graduation's coming up, okay? And I don't know, I'm sure every kid doesn't get a bunch of money, but you get something, right? Yeah. And again, like, it doesn't have to be a ton of money, right? $1 a day is not a ton of money. $2 a day is not a ton of money, right? So now you have that graduation party, right? And now let's say you get the chunk, you get that 500, you get that 1,000, right? Whatever. Now you are, my gosh, there's your $1 a day, right? So $1 a day is what, $365, right? So you've just done $2 a day, you're a little less than $3 a day at graduation, right? So now let's do our graduation money plus let's throw $1 a day away in. Now we're doing things, right? Now as they say, make your money work for you, don't work for your money, right? Okay, and but there's a ton of things that they can do. That's just an easy one, right? Okay. Now there's a lot more to it. That's the basic gist of it. And when I say a lot more to it, there's bits and pieces that you learn about, right? It's just about learning. Okay. So looking here and at, let's see, I think on our, do we have the chart? Did the chart come through?
Should be on the back, I think, of your page there.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So when it comes to financial decisions, right, what you want to do is you want to look at your options and say, what should I do? Like, what's the best option that I have, or what's a option that I have, right, that helps me? It doesn't have to be the best option, okay? So example. So let's say that kid gets that money for graduation, all right? Let's say it's $500 or $1,000, okay? And I'm sitting here and I'm a kid. What are some kids going to say I'm going to do with this money? What's one thing that they might say that they want to do with this money?
At this stage, put it towards a car.
Right? Maybe put it towards a car. What else? We're thinking. Some of us are thinking college and going on to college. Buying what?
Books,
right? Yeah. So you look at these options and you say, okay, so you list your options down. All right, so, well, I can take that $1,000 and I can put it towards my tuition. I can take that $1,000 and I can go buy a car with it. I can take that $1,000 and I can go blow it on stuff, right? I could take that $1,000, I go buy books, right? And I could take that $1,000 and I could buy a new speaker system, right?
It's like 2 books, by the way.
It's exactly. And by the way, on those lines, and that I don't know how it is anymore because I don't have any kids, number one.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of the used book places. Use them, right? And that one of the nice things about the used book thing is if the person who had them before you actually was a good student, they're already highlighted, right? So so now you have to check it out, right? So you go to your first class and you look and see what the student before you highlighted, and you see how that matches up with the first test. And if it matches up, you're like, yeah, and if it doesn't match up, you're like, well, I guess I got to do my own reading. That's
if you get the right edition.
Exactly. Right?
Hey, real quick, you're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Gary Glunt with us here this morning.
So, all right, so here we go. So so now I'm looking at, all right, how am I going to pay for college? All right. And I'm just going to use this as an example. Right. And I look at what the rates, like some of the rates are, right? So this is just grabbed it off the internet, did a quick search for, federal student loan rates, that kind of thing. And I look at the numbers here for the different types of loans. Okay. So I say to myself, I got $1,000. I could pay $1,000 of my tuition for that. Okay. Or I can get a loan for that $1,000. Right. And part of that, the $1,000. So let's say tuition, what is it, $15,000 a year, whatever, $10,000 a year, something like that. Okay, so I can either take a loan out for $10,000 or I can take a loan out for $9,000. Right, if I put my $1,000 to give my $1,000 to the school. Right, or I can take my $1,000, take my loan out for the full tuition amount, $10,000, let's call it. Okay, and take that $1,000 and put it into my mutual fund. Right. Okay. Well, now my mutual funds average in 11 or 10, whatever, 8, whatever. Okay. And I can go get a loan for 5.5. Well, if that's the case, I'm making money. Right. I'm not making a ton, but I'm making money. Where if I pay the loan, I pay the loan, I'm not making money. Right? Now I paid that down. I don't have as much to pay back over time. Okay. But you look at, you compare the two things that you're looking at, right? Okay. And you say, and you list all the, all the advantages and disadvantages, right? So then let's say I take my $1,000 and put it on my tuition, or I take my $1,000 and I go buy a speaker for my car. Now I look at that and I go, all right, my pros and cons is, well, I just got a speaker and my money's gone, right? Or I put $1,000 on my tuition and I'm going to get a return on that, hopefully, when I graduate. And so you have to look at every financial thing in its own light and compare them and then say, all right, what one is the best one I should do, right? And then that's the one you select. One thing about debt, okay, and debt can be used to your benefit, all right, if you know how to use debt, all right? And in today's day and age, you have to know how to use debt, right? So, I'm not a big fan of going. I don't want people to think we're saying let's go into debt, okay? But if you can use debt to your advantage, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Okay, so just something simple, and there's a bunch, but here's something that young kids might understand, right? Okay, you need a good credit score, right? If you don't have a good credit score, you are going to pay more for everything you buy the rest of your life, and significantly more than somebody who has a good credit score, right? So, if your credit score is horrible and you go buy a car, you're going to get a much higher interest rate than if I go buy a car and my credit score is awesome. If I go buy my house and my credit score is awful, I'm going to pay much more in interest than a person who doesn't have a bad credit score. And so keeping that credit score good is a huge financial thing, right? And one of the techniques of doing that is you have to build credit, right? So you're going to have to use some debt instruments, right? So if I'm a young kid and I want to start building my credit, I get a credit card, I put a $500 limit on it, and when I have the money to go get something, I take that credit card, I go buy those jeans, I come home and I pay that credit card off. And now I'm starting to build my credit. I'm getting points for using my credit properly, and it's not costing me anything to do it, right? Because if I pay that off within a month, then I don't get any interest charged to me. So that's just one example of using debt to our advantage, right? Okay. I do it with apartments, right? And that, so, real estate and using debt to your advantage is wonderful, right? And that, so, and I know this is kind of off the topic of kids and money, but it really isn't, right? You look for how can I use debt to my advantage, right? Okay, in the apartment world, you never use your own money, right? And the reason you don't use your own money is because your tenants pay your debt, right? And so you let your tenants pay that debt, and you can take a loan out and you're not paying a dime, right? Your tenants are paying that dime. Now, if you don't have tenants, now you're paying a dime, right? Okay, but debt is an advantage, right? But if you're not good with debt, it can be a crusher, right?
And it can pile up quickly.
And it can pile up quickly, right?
Gary, we having you back Monday?
Yes.
Let's pick up there because there's more to go there, and I want to ask you something about that debt.
All right.
With somebody else that's nationally known who is very much against that.
Right.
Because I think you're right. You have to build that history.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll pick up there. Great conversation, Gary. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, Luke. Have a good day, everybody.